My hand was halfway to the conference room door when I heard Brian Foster's voice through the glass. The restructuring gives us an opportunity to trim the legacy fat. Their retirement plans cost us millions. Legacy fat. That's what 22 years of building relationships and landing contracts worth $95 million meant to our new managing director. I pushed the door open anyway. Brian looked up from his laptop, that Harvard MBA smile spreading across his face like he'd been expecting me. "Michael, perfect timing. Have a seat." The conference room felt different today. Too clean, too corporate. Stephen Garrison's usual warmth was replaced by manila folders and calculated expressions. Sarah from HR sat beside Brian, avoiding eye contact like I had some contagious disease. "We're restructuring the business development division," Brian announced without preamble. "Today's your last day. 22 years. That's how it ends. My name's Michael Anderson. I'm 54 years old, and until that moment, I was Senior Vice President of Business Development at Garrison Strategic Solutions, one of Boston's premier defense consulting firms. I'd spent over 2 decades building relationships with Pentagon officials, defense contractors, and veteran-owned businesses across the country. In an industry where connections mean everything, I made sure our clients knew we understood their mission because we'd lived it. "Business decisions aren't personal," Brian continued, sliding a manila folder across Stephen's mahogany desk like he was serving court papers. "HR has prepared your severance package, 3 months' salary plus benefits through year-end." Sarah nodded on cue. "The restructuring affects several departments. This isn't about performance." Performance. Right. At 54, I was managing a $40 million client portfolio, personally overseeing relationships that brought in nearly half our annual revenue. My performance had helped transform Garrison Strategic from a small government consulting shop into a major player in defense contracting. "Does Stephen know about this?" I asked, looking directly at our founder. Stephen Garrison had been my commanding officer's friend back when I transitioned from the Navy in 2001. He'd hired me based on 14 years of military service and a handshake promise that he valued substance over style. Brian's jaw tightened. All partners were briefed on the restructuring plan. Funny how Stephen had been in Washington all week, meeting with Defense Department officials about our newest contract proposal. These corporate courage shows always happen when the real leadership is out of town. "Best of luck in your future endeavors," Brian concluded with that practiced smile they probably teach in MBA programs. "Security will help you gather your personal items. Standard protocol." I'd helped write those security protocols 10 years ago when we moved into this building, back when I thought loyalty mattered. The walk to my office felt like a death march. 22 years of my professional life packed into cardboard boxes while some 25-year-old security guard watched me like I might steal company secrets. Photos from military charity events, thank you letters from veteran business owners I'd mentored, the crystal paperweight Stephen had given me on my 15th anniversary, all reduced to items for inspection. My phone buzzed. Text message from Jennifer Walsh, CEO of Walsh Defense Systems, our largest client. "Heard troubling rumors about changes at Garrison. Need to discuss our contract renewal ASAP." I looked up to see Brian on his phone through the glass partition, probably spinning damage control. The guy had no idea that client relationships couldn't be transferred through a memo or managed by CRM software. Let me back up and explain how I got here. I joined Garrison Strategic in 2001, fresh out of 14 years in the Navy. Stephen Garrison was 45 then, a former Marine captain who understood that military experience meant something in government contracting. "The Pentagon needs advisors who've actually served," he told me during my interview. "Consultants can read about strategy all day. We deliver results because we understand the mission." That philosophy built my career. I didn't just manage contracts, I built relationships. I remembered deployment schedules, family situations, budget concerns. When defense contractors needed help navigating Pentagon bureaucracy, they called me first. When veteran-owned businesses needed guidance on government contracts, I walked them through the process personally. Stephen used to say I was the bridge between military and corporate worlds. "You speak both languages," he'd tell me. "That's worth more than any MBA." The firm grew steadily under that approach. We started with 12 clients and half a floor in a modest office building. By 2020, we were managing contracts worth nearly $100 million and employed 45 people across 3 offices. But 3 years ago, outside investors joined us. New partners arrived with Ivy League degrees and PowerPoint presentations about optimizing efficiency metrics and leveraging digital transformation opportunities. Brian Foster had been the most aggressive addition since arriving from McKinsey 8 months ago. The changes came fast. Employee satisfaction surveys showed 35% drop in morale within 6 months. Our company softball team, which I'd coached for 8 years, lost half its players when Brian eliminated non-essential team-building activities. The veteran hiring program I'd championed since 2015 got axed for budget optimization. I'd raised concerns during partner meetings. "We're losing what made us special," I warned. "These aren't just contracts, they're relationships built on trust and understanding." "The market's evolving, Michael," Brian would respond, pulling up another spreadsheet. "We need data-driven client management, not golf course handshakes. Our new CRM system tracks client interactions more efficiently than personal relationships." Golf course handshakes. That's what he called the Pentagon meeting where I'd helped secure our largest contract, or the barbecue where I'd convinced 3 veteran business owners to trust us with their first major proposals. Over the past 4 months, I'd watched my gradual exclusion from strategic planning. Meeting invitations stopped coming. Email threads omitted my address. Younger associates were assigned as secondary contacts on accounts I'd built from nothing, all without my input or consultation. Still, I figured my track record would protect me. I managed the Pentagon's largest consulting contract and maintained exclusive relationships with 3 major defense contractors. Jennifer Walsh had specifically requested me as primary contact for Walsh Defense Systems' $12 million annual consulting needs. But last week I'd overheard that phone conversation. Legacy fat and retirement costs. Should have seen it coming. The humiliation of being escorted from the building still burned 3 days later as I sat in my apartment, surrounded by LinkedIn notifications and unanswered messages from former colleagues. My profile views had tripled overnight. Nothing like sudden unemployment to make you interesting again. My phone rang around 6 p.m. on Friday. Stephen Garrison's number lit up the display. "Michael, I just got back from D.C. and heard what happened." His voice carried that tight frustration I remembered from our military days. This wasn't authorized by me. Part of me felt relief that Stephen hadn't signed off on my termination. The bigger part stayed angry that it happened anyway, right under his nose. "Well, it's done now," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "They moved while I was negotiating the Henderson defense contract. Pushed it through on emergency authority to improve quarterly projections before our investor review next week." Stephen paused and I could hear traffic in the background. 22 years, Michael. You deserved better than a 10-minute meeting and a security escort. What are you going to do about it? I want to fix this. What if I bring you back? We'll call it a miscommunication, a temporary restructuring that didn't work out. I thought about Brian Foster calling me legacy fat. In corporate politics, being undermined by leadership is career death. You can't just pretend it didn't happen and move forward like nothing changed. It's not that simple, Stephen. Once they've shown you the door, walking back through it means everyone knows you're disposable. I understand that. But this company was built on relationships you developed. How are those relationships being maintained now that I'm gone? Silence stretched between us. Finally, Brian assigned your accounts to junior associates. Angela Bennett is handling Walsh Defense. I nearly laughed out loud. Jennifer Walsh had practically thrown Angela out of a strategy meeting last year, calling her approach tone-deaf and completely inappropriate for military culture. After hanging up, I checked my messages. Clients were reaching out, but not through official channels. Personal cell phones, private emails, even LinkedIn messages. Word travels fast in defense contracting circles, especially when it involves someone who's been around as long as I have. My doorbell rang Saturday morning. Courier with a thick envelope from Rebecca Stone, the most connected headhunter in Boston's consulting world. Inside was a formal letter and a handwritten note. Heard what happened at Garrison. Several firms would value your expertise in client relationships. Call me. Jennifer Walsh called at 7:30 a.m. Monday. No time for pleasantries with her. Tell me you're not actually gone, Michael. Afraid so. Restructuring, they called it. I've worked exclusively with you for 8 years. Some kid named Angela Bennett sent me an email yesterday about optimizing our consulting relationship for maximum efficiency. She tried to explain defense procurement processes to me, processes I helped write when I worked at the Pentagon. I chose my words carefully. Garrison Strategic is implementing new approaches. I'm sure they believe it's in everyone's best interest. Cut the corporate line, Michael. We've known each other since you helped us navigate our first major contract bid. Jennifer's voice sharpened. Where are you going next? Still figuring that out. Figure it quickly. Our consulting agreement comes up for renewal in 45 days. I'd rather work with you than your replacement. By noon, I'd received similar calls from 6 other major clients. By evening, that number had grown to 12. I wasn't soliciting anyone, didn't need to. In our industry, reputation and relationships matter more than company letterhead. Tuesday morning, Rebecca Stone called. You're the hottest commodity in the industry right now, she said without preamble. Brian Foster made a spectacular miscalculation. We met for lunch at an upscale restaurant in Back Bay. Rebecca slid a folder across the table before our appetizers arrived. 4 firms want to meet with you this week. 2 are creating positions specifically designed around your client portfolio and military connections. I glanced at the compensation figures and nearly choked on my water. They were offering $380,000 base plus equity participation, nearly 60% more than my previous salary. They're not just buying your expertise, Rebecca explained, reading my expression. They're buying your Rolodex. Those Pentagon relationships alone are worth millions in potential contracts. The irony wasn't lost on me. After being cut as expensive overhead, I was suddenly worth more than I'd ever been valued at Garrison Strategic. There's one firm in particular you should meet, Rebecca continued, pulling out another folder. Patriot Defense Consulting. Mid-sized, veteran-owned, with values similar to what Garrison Strategic used to represent. She was right. Patriot's founding principles read like Stephen's original mission statement from 2001, before MBA consultants and efficiency experts had stripped away the soul of what we did. They're offering full partnership, not just senior executive status. Equity participation from day one. Complete autonomy over client relationship management. Partnership. Something Stephen had dangled for years but never delivered, always with excuses about timing and investor concerns. Stephen called again that evening, sounding more desperate than I'd heard him since our Navy days. I need to see you in person. Things are happening you should know about. I don't think that's appropriate given the circumstances. Lunch tomorrow at Murphy's Tavern. Please, Michael. The situation's deteriorating faster than you realize. Curiosity won out over caution. At 1 p.m. Wednesday, I found Stephen already waiting in a corner booth, looking like he'd aged 5 years in the past week. Dark circles under his eyes, suit wrinkled, that 1,000-yard stare I remembered from particularly bad deployments. Thank you for coming, he said, relief evident in his voice. I've been trying to reverse Brian's decision, but he's blocked me at every turn, convinced the board that your termination was necessary for modernizing our client approach. How are the clients responding to this modernization? Stephen winced like I'd hit a nerve. Not well. Jennifer Walsh demanded an emergency meeting with the entire executive team. Called yesterday and said our new approach was unacceptable for military contractors. The Pentagon contract manager is reassessing our partnership pending organizational stability review. I waited, letting him fill the silence. 3 smaller clients have already terminated their contracts. Douglas at Archer Defense called this morning to say they're seeking alternative consulting arrangements. Stephen leaned forward, desperation creeping into his voice. Here's what I'm proposing. Chief Strategic Officer, reporting directly to me. Complete autonomy over client relationships, bypassing Brian entirely. Better compensation, equity participation. It sounded perfect, exactly what I'd wanted 5 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago. Too perfect for right now. What aren't you telling me, Stephen? He hesitated, staring into his untouched coffee. Brian's been building alliances with the newer partners since he arrived. If the client situation gets worse, and it's going to get worse, he'll use it as leverage to force me into early retirement. You'd be his next target after that. There it was. Stephen wasn't trying to save me. He was trying to save himself, and I was just his life preserver. I appreciate the offer, but I've already committed to meetings with other firms. His face fell like I'd just told him his dog died. Michael, what have you done? I haven't done anything except answer my phone when people called me, I replied, throwing his own corporate speak back at him. Just exploring my options. After all, business decisions aren't personal. The look on Stephen's face almost made the whole ordeal worthwhile. Almost. Over the next week, I met with all 4 firms Rebecca had recommended. Each meeting followed a similar pattern. Enthusiastic praise for my client relationship skills, carefully worded questions about which clients might follow me, and increasingly generous compensation offers. Patriot Defense Consulting stood out immediately. Their offices reminded me of early Garrison Strategic, functional but not flashy, walls covered with military unit photos instead of abstract corporate art. The founding partners were all veterans, guys who understood that relationships in defense contracting aren't built in boardrooms but on shared experiences and mutual respect. "We've been tracking your work at Garrison Strategic for years," said Colonel James Murphy, Patriot's CEO. "You built something special there. We'd like to help you build something even better here." Their offer included full partnership and equity participation, something Stephen had promised for years but never delivered. More importantly, they wanted me to establish a veteran mentorship program, helping military personnel transition into corporate consulting roles. "The industry needs more people who understand both worlds," Murphy explained. "Military discipline with business acumen. You've proven that combination works." Meanwhile, the situation at Garrison Strategic was deteriorating faster than I'd anticipated. My former assistant Nicholas had started texting daily updates, and the news wasn't good for Brian Foster's modernization efforts. Tuesday, Jennifer Walsh stormed out of her meeting with the executive team. Heard her telling her assistant that working with Angela Bennett was like explaining quantum physics to a kindergartner. Wednesday, Pentagon contract manager called, asked specifically where you went. Brian tried to handle the call himself, didn't go well. Thursday, 3 more clients requested contact information for their previous relationship manager. HR told them, "You're no longer with the company." 2 hung up immediately. By Friday, industry blogs were picking up the story. Defense Industry Weekly ran a piece titled "Client Relations Shakeup" at Garrison Strategic Raises Questions. The article didn't mention me by name, but anyone in the industry would know what the departure of a senior relationship manager meant. Then Timothy Rogers from Defense Contracting News called my cell phone. "Michael Anderson? This is Tim Rogers. I'm working on a story about recent changes at Garrison Strategic and their impact on client relationships. Several sources have mentioned your name. Would you be willing to comment?" This was dangerous territory. My severance agreement included strict non-disparagement clauses that could cost me 3 months of salary if I said the wrong thing. "I'm not comfortable commenting on internal matters at Garrison Strategic," I replied carefully. "Understandable." "What about reports that 15 major defense contractors are reconsidering their consulting relationships with Garrison? Industry sources suggest this is directly related to your departure. 15 clients. I'd only spoken directly with 8, and none had told me definitively they were leaving Garrison. I can't speak for client business decisions. Many factors influence consulting partnerships. One more question. Any comment on the letter reportedly signed by 18 defense industry executives requesting leadership changes at Garrison Strategic? I nearly dropped the phone. 18 executives. An organized demand for leadership changes. I hadn't orchestrated any of this. I have no knowledge of such a letter. After hanging up, I sat in stunned silence. 18 defense industry leaders organizing against Garrison Strategic's new management. This wasn't just client dissatisfaction. This was a coordinated revolt. My phone buzzed immediately. Text from Nicholas. "Emergency all-hands meeting called for Monday morning. Partners flying in from all offices. Brian looks like he's about to have a breakdown." An hour later, Stephen called. "No pleasantries this time. Did you organize this client uprising?" "I've done nothing except answer questions when people called me." "Then how do you explain what's happening? 65% of our client base is threatening to terminate contracts." The board called an emergency session. "Our investors are demanding explanations I don't have. Maybe they value continuity and relationship expertise more than digital optimization metrics. What do you want from me?" "Nothing, Stephen. I already have partnership offers that include equity participation and complete autonomy." "Come back," he pleaded, and I could hear actual desperation in his voice. "Not as chief strategic officer. Full partner. Equal equity with the founding members. Help me stabilize this situation before we lose everything. Full partner. Equal equity." The position I'd earned 10 years ago but had been repeatedly denied with excuses about timing and investor concerns. "The board's meeting tonight," Stephen continued. "Brian's future will be decided before Monday's meeting. We can fix this, Michael, together." I thought about the Patriot Defense offer sitting on my kitchen table. Clean slate, respected colleagues, better compensation, less corporate politics. But these client relationships represented 22 years of my professional life. Walking away felt like abandoning something I'd built with my own hands. "I need to think about it," I said finally. "I'll give you until Sunday evening. Please, Michael, don't let Brian's mistakes destroy what we built together." Sleep was impossible that night. I paced my apartment until dawn, weighing options. Returning to Garrison Strategic meant facing colleagues who'd watched my humiliation in silence, navigating the political aftermath of Brian's apparent downfall. A downfall I hadn't engineered but would certainly be blamed for. The firm's culture had been deteriorating for months. One leadership change wouldn't fix years of prioritizing metrics over relationships, efficiency over loyalty. But Patriot Defense offered something different entirely. Fresh start, new colleagues who valued my experience, and the opportunity to build something lasting without corporate interference. By 6 a.m., I'd made my decision. I called Rebecca Stone, knowing she'd be awake early. "I'm going with Patriot Defense," I told her. "Smart choice. They'll be thrilled. When do you want to start?" "There's one condition I need you to negotiate first." I explained what I wanted. Rebecca listened, then laughed. "Michael, you magnificent strategic thinker. I love it. Let me present this to Patriot this morning." At 8:45 a.m. Monday, I walked into Garrison Strategic's main conference room for the emergency all-hands meeting. The room was packed with partners who'd flown in from offices across the country. Junior staff crowded along the walls. Stephen stood at the front, flanked by board members I recognized from annual meetings. Brian Foster was conspicuously absent. A hush fell over the room as I entered. Stephen's relief was visible from across the crowded space. "Thank you all for coming," Stephen began, his voice carrying across the packed conference room. "As you know, we're facing unprecedented client concerns following recent organizational changes." His eyes found mine. "I'm pleased to announce that Michael Anderson has agreed to return to Garrison Strategic as a full equity partner, leading our newly restructured client relations division." Murmurs spread through the crowd, some hopeful, some relieved, all surprised to see me back after last week's very public termination. Stephen raised his hand for quiet. Additionally, the board has unanimously voted to remove Brian Foster as managing director, effective immediately. His approach proved inconsistent with our firm's core values and client commitments. The room buzzed with shock and satisfaction. I saw Nicholas give me a subtle thumbs up from the back wall, along with several other longtime employees who'd watched Brian's efficiency crusade destroy morale. "Michael, would you like to address the team?" Stephen gestured me forward. I walked to the front, taking my time, looking out at faces that showed everything from hope to uncertainty to genuine curiosity about what I'd say. "Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate the partnership offer," I began, my voice carrying clearly in the silent room. "However, I need to clarify something important. I'm not returning to Garrison Strategic." Stephen's face froze mid-smile. Several board members exchanged alarmed glances. Instead, I continued calmly. "I'm pleased to announce that I've accepted a partnership position at Patriot Defense Consulting, which completed acquisition negotiations this weekend to purchase a controlling interest in Garrison Strategic Solutions." The room erupted. Shouts of surprise, confusion, and concern mixed together as the implications sank in. Stephen stepped forward, his face pale. "Michael, what have you done?" "I haven't done anything," I replied, using his favorite line. "Patriot Defense has been seeking to expand their Boston presence for years. When they learned about client stability issues here, they made an attractive offer to your investors. Horizon Capital was happy to consider their proposal, especially given recent revenue concerns. The truth was simpler than anyone realized. Patriot Defense had been watching Garrison Strategic's client troubles through industry connections. When Rebecca Stone approached them about my potential partnership, they saw an opportunity bigger than just hiring one executive. "The transition begins next week," I continued as the noise subsided. "Patriot has assured me they value institutional knowledge and client relationships built here over many years. No mass layoffs are planned unless operational efficiency requires restructuring." I let that last phrase sink in. Brian's own corporate speak turned back on the organization he'd tried to modernize. Stephen found his voice. "How long have you been planning this?" "I made one phone call to Rebecca Stone 3 days ago. Everything else was business decisions made by people much smarter than me." I looked directly at him. Patriot Defense values experience, relationships, and the kind of institutional knowledge that some people call legacy fat. As understanding dawned in Stephen's eyes, I saw him realize the true cost of allowing short-term efficiency metrics to override long-term relationship building. He'd let Brian Foster undermine the foundation of everything we'd built together. The meeting dissolved into chaos as I walked out, head high. My phone buzzed immediately. Jennifer Walsh. Just heard the news through defense industry channels. Congratulations. Dinner tonight to discuss expanding Walsh Defense's consulting relationship with Patriot? I smiled, stepping into the elevator. Justice has a way of finding its own path. Defense industry. Weekly broke the story the next morning. Major consulting shakeup. Patriot Defense. Acquires Garrison Strategic after client exodus. The article detailed how personnel changes had triggered client defections, destabilizing the firm enough to make acquisition attractive. My name appeared once, buried in the 12th paragraph. Michael Anderson, former Senior VP of Business Development, has accepted partnership at Patriot and will oversee integration of existing client portfolios. That clinical description barely captured what had actually happened, a complete reversal of corporate fortune. In 3 weeks, I'd gone from terminated employee to controlling the destiny of my former employer. Integration planning began immediately. I worked from Patriot's offices, reviewing organizational charts and client portfolios from both firms. Every day brought a parade of former Garrison colleagues to my door, some seeking reassurance about their positions, others suddenly remembering how they'd always respected my approach or disagreed with Brian's methods. The most satisfying visitor was Angela Bennett, who requested a meeting to discuss her career development opportunities within the merged organization. Stephen requested his own meeting 2 weeks after the acquisition announcement. He looked 10 years older, the stress of losing control of his life's work etched in every line of his face. "You orchestrated this entire situation," he said, sitting across from my new office desk. "No, Stephen. I simply recognized my own value when you forgot it." I slid a document across the polished surface. "Patriot's offering you a 3-year advisory role. Consulting only, no management responsibilities. It's generous considering the circumstances." He stared at the paperwork, then at me. "And if I refuse? Then you walk away with just your ownership payout from the acquisition. Your choice." He signed without reading the details. Brian Foster had landed at a smaller consulting firm across town, his reputation permanently damaged by the spectacular collapse he'd triggered. Word in the industry was that his new employers kept him away from client-facing roles. 6 months after the acquisition, Patriot Defense Solutions occupied 3 floors of a downtown high-rise. The integration had been smoother than anyone anticipated, partly because I'd insisted on retaining most of Garrison's experienced staff. They understood the value of institutional knowledge now. In my corner office, I reviewed quarterly numbers with quiet satisfaction. Client retention through the transition exceeded 92%. The 3 clients who'd left during initial chaos had already returned, drawn back by familiar faces and proven competence. Combined revenues were up 31% year over year. My assistant knocked. "Jennifer Walsh is here for your lunch meeting." Jennifer entered, sharp as ever in her navy blazer and confident smile. "Congratulations on the quarterly results. The industry's still talking about the most elegant corporate turnaround they've seen in years." "It wasn't a turnaround," I corrected. "It was a market correction." She laughed. "Call it whatever you want. You prove something I've always known. In professional services, relationships are the real assets. Everything else is just overhead." As we headed to lunch, I reflected on the past 6 months. I hadn't sought revenge when Garrison Strategic terminated me, didn't need to. The firm had failed to recognize that their true value wasn't in efficiency metrics, digital platforms, or MBA strategies. It was in human connections that made clients feel understood, valued, and prioritized. By cutting me without understanding what I represented, they'd orchestrated their own downfall and given me the opportunity I'd earned through 22 years of dedication. Sometimes justice doesn't require action. Sometimes it just requires patience and the quiet confidence of knowing your worth. In business, you can optimize processes and digitize workflows, but you cannot automate trust, and clients will always follow the people who earned it. The most expensive mistake a company can make is treating their most valuable relationships as their most replaceable assets.